Alabama travels to Tennessee, the biggest game for the rest of the way out for arguably both of these teams. And, I mean, you need a win. Both teams need a win.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. You both have a bad loss, a blemish on your resume, and another one, you're one loss away from being completely out of playoff contention, period.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to have any kind of sustained chance to make the SEC championship after this game, it's pretty vital that you go ahead and get a win here. So I can go ahead and give my initial thoughts on this game. Tennessee has been very different this season than what I had expected from them. Their offense is a bit more predicated on the run game than I had anticipated.
Big word.
Yeah. I'm pulling out the dictionary for this one. But Nico obviously has shown his youth and his inexperience at quarterback. He's not a bad quarterback, but he makes those mental errors. And Alabama has been, ever since they, gave up that lead to Georgia in the second half, let them come back, ultimately won the game, have not really looked the same as they did in that first half against Georgia, haven't shown that same dominance, have let teams hang around and almost beat them in 2 consecutive weeks with Vanderbilt and South Carolina. Ultimately, though, in this one, I think I'm erring more on the side of Alabama just because they have Jalen Milroe and he can do what he does. And that Alabama offense, when they're on, their ability to generate explosive plays is quite insane.
Yeah.
I will say Tennessee, though, on the flip side, on the other side of the football, they had been playing good defense. I will give them that.
Correct.
They've had a good defensive unit, a front seven, led by James Pierce Jr., one of the best edge rushers in this draft class. So they have been solid as well. However, I don't know if I see Tennessee coming out of this one.
Yep.
I mean, I think, it'll be a close game. I'm not sure if the spread is out yet or what that looks like. I'm sure Drew will mention that. But, this is going to be a dogfight from two teams who are nearing desperation mode.
Yep. Absolutely. No, man, I mean, I agree with everything that you said. I think it's hilarious that I've become the line guy.
The stats guy. The betting line guy.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I do live in a state where it's legal. And I have access to more than one book. But
yeah, it helps.
Yeah. So, I don't make it my entire personality, but for as far as value being brought to this podcast or channel or whatever you want to call it, that is where I've found myself. Because in the past, I've been the vibes guy, and that did not, apparently vibes don't win football games, or at least what I'm told. But all that to be said,
unfortunately,
yeah. All that being said, from what I'm looking at, it looks like Alabama is hovering around a 2.5-point favorite in Neyland, which I think is crazy. Also, by the way, sorry, flashback to earlier part of this video where I didn't mention that I picked up South Carolina plus 21.5 live. I felt like a gambling genius, and but
yeah, that's a great live bet.
Great live bet. Those are where the vibes come into play because everything statistics wise said, "Oh, Alabama's going to take off and blow this game open." But I don't know. You feel it in your bones.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to go with the gut feeling.
Exactly, and that might be what I do here. I'm obviously going to try to keep as close an eye on this one as I can. I will be not only attending, but I am in a wedding this weekend. However, the festivities will have died down by the time the Georgia game comes around, which is by far my preference. So forgive me if next week I will not have much to say on this game. All that being,
it'll be good, bro. Just go watch the Wheels highlights. Just get you covered.
There we go. But all that being said, as far as like the preview for this game, I do agree with you. I think that the Tennessee offense is not exactly what we thought they were. However, I think the Tennessee defense, especially with that pass rush, has the ability to keep Milroe contained. You can't stop him. You can just hope to contain him. And I think that we saw that against South Carolina. Excuse me. Where South Carolina was able to get a push up front on the defensive side of the ball, collapse the pocket a little bit more than, even the Georgia front seven did, and affect Milroe.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what you have to do here if you're going to succeed in this game. Tennessee has something that South Carolina did not. They have 110,000 people screaming at the top of their lungs, also trying to affect Milroe and this Alabama offense. So I think that's the matchup that's going to determine the outcome of this game, because Tennessee has proven that they aren't as, like, in these large stages, they're not the most electric offense and high-powered offense, but they can still move the ball. Kind of beat you up with the run game, and then hopefully Nico can be prepared mentally and physically to hurt you a little bit with his arm. But I think that the Tennessee defense is really going to have to play their best ball.
They are, but you make a great point. I mean, the formula to beating Alabama and containing Jalen Milroe does exist.
Yep. Yeah, and honestly,
you're not gonna completely snuff him out.
No,
he's gonna have an impact.
Yep.
You limit him.
Yep.
And there is film on how to do that out there in multiple games. The second half of the Georgia game.
Yes.
The Vanderbilt game.
Yes.
The South Carolina. They couldn't get it done, but they did what they needed to have a chance.
Yeah, I think you genuinely take, like, the baby of all nine quarters of football. Not 9 quarters. 10 quarters of football there you go. That you just mentioned, and see how Georgia was able to exploit that secondary and get the points on the board. How was Vanderbilt able to play keep away and just absolutely churn the clock and limit Alabama's offense? Obviously, in the Vanderbilt game, the turnovers really set Alabama behind, and just the way
but still,
if you can get a turnover early, I think you follow the Vanderbilt tape almost to a T, because if you can keep Miller off the field, that's the best way to limit him.
Absolutely.
However, with the strengths of this Tennessee team, I think you look more into the South Carolina film and see what they did well and what worked well. So I think
I would agree. And I mean, I think Tennessee will kind of take a Kentucky-esque approach to how they played against Georgia. Not completely, but you got to play keep away against this guy.
Yep.
You really do. And I think Tennessee's offense kind of lends itself to that, where if you can have success on the ground, get a push up front from your O-line against their front seven, you can control the tempo of the game, have long sustained drives, take some time off the clock and score and keep it away out of Milroe's hands. And that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to win the time of possession battle. They're going to have to force at least a couple of turnovers, at least one. You got to have some kind of
would be good.
Game-changing play. You got to make some. There needs to be a turnover for Tennessee to win, I will say. You got to generate something and have an opportunity to go even further up while still playing keep away. And I think genuinely that they can do it. They with how this team is built this year, because unlike any other iteration of this hypo offense, you're not really winning shootouts with this version of the team, which is fine. You just got to play accordingly. So I think they will have the formula. I lean a little Alabama, but with how they've been playing since that second half against Georgia, I wouldn't be surprised if either of these teams won.
I mean, there's no reason, if you're Tennessee, as long as you are still within a touchdown of this game, there is no reason to snap the ball with more than 10 seconds left on the play clock. Like, that's how extreme it needs to be. Every first down needs to be another at least 2.5 minutes that Alabama is not on the field offensively. All right. That's enough about the third Saturday in October, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we have shared our opinions there. Let us know in the comments who you have in this matchup. We'll leave it at that. I lean Alabama. However, I want good ball. That's all I really want at the end of the day. And like I said before, these are two teams that are in desperation mode, so expect a dogfight out on the field.